It's a good day to have a good day. Hello, everybody. My name's Cece Ray. Thanks for joining me here at Break the Dish, where we break the news and dish out the tea. Happy New Year 2026. I hope you breakers enjoyed your holidays and brought the new year in the way you wanted it to. I have always loved New Year's, especially since I was a kid. I don't know, I just always saw it as like a clean slate, a new adventure. And this year was absolutely no exception. We started our new year in the Big Apple, and there was a reason for that. And I'm going to share a proud moment, Mama, with all of you. So my daughter debuted her exhibit at the FIT gallery, and it's been there since Thanksgiving, but this was the first time all of us had a chance to go up and take a look at it. And not only, of course, am I going to be boasting because this is my child, but I'll tell you what really got me. So while all my kids were downstairs and they're looking through the museum and stuff, I was upstairs where her exhibit is for a good 30 minutes. And I'm watching people just like take pictures of it and talking about it. And just amazing to me, seriously. I mean, I'm going to keep boasting about it. I couldn't be prouder. She's worked so hard, and so this is for you, Emilia. Congratulations. You did a great job. Well, we are getting ready to recap The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 13. You know what I'm going to say, right? Angel Wonk Wonk. I mean, all season, we have waited for a pulse, a blink, a breath, and we're still waiting, to be quite honest. I mean, now it's smoke and mirrors, bait and switch going on. I mean, like, she probably should have stayed sleeping. But we're going to get into it. But before we do, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we break the dish. We are recapping The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 13. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about here. But this episode opened up with, all the different housewives doing their own thing. And Tia is with her half-sister, Amira, I believe is her name. And they are now going back and visiting the home that used to be their father's. She contacted the homeowner, and they, are allowing her and her sister to come through the house and take pictures and revisit. And let me tell you, this is why a lot of us, anyway, love reality television. Like, you couldn't make this up. The emotion that Tia had, she could barely speak coming into this house. And the homeowner was so gracious. It was her and her two sons, and they're taking you through their home. And then when they get to, I think it was like the kitchen. They recreated a picture that her and her dad and siblings did. And then she recreated it with her children. And then they went upstairs and they found this, like, one of those, like, it almost looks like those calendars that have, like, sayings in it, like, have a great day today, or, like, give it your all, whatever. Well, it just happened to be that this was a saying and it was opened up to June 11th, which apparently was Tia's father's birthday. And she just becomes, again, overwhelmed and just tears are flowing. Such a genuine scene. And this is why we like reality television, because I think we've all been there. I mean, you know, I can't tell you how many times I have thought about going back to the home I grew up in and being able to show my children the home I grew up in. And, you know, most people probably would not allow you to walk through their house. But of course, if you're part of the cast of the Real Housewives of Potomac, they're probably not going to say no. But I have thought about it. You know what I mean? Like, what did they do to the house? What changes did they make? Like, and especially when your parents are gone, um, you're just probably flooded with those memories. And I would definitely become emotional for sure. And so I could see how Tia became so emotional. But then we flip to the other side. So Ashley is having I think she called it 6 to 60 party. So it was a mixed birthday between her uncle who turned 60 and her son Dean who turned 6. I cannot believe he's 6 years old already. That is crazy. Um, and during this birthday party, they're starting the discussion about her mother's husband. Now, when I say the opposite of Tia's situation, Tia's just seems so natural and you could really just feel her emotion. Nothing was forced. Where the conversation at Ashley's was like, "So, Mom, would you like to share the important news that you shared with me?" Like, who starts a conversation off like that? Especially when you're talking about her husband uh, putting himself into rehab. Like, seriously. Um, Forced conversation. You could tell her mom didn't really want to talk about it. Um, it was just weird and awkward and, you know, just bizarre. Like, it didn't have to be brought up, but you did anyway. I don't know. Just set me off a little bit. And it's irritating me because it's not just this franchise. I mean, like, there's been a few now coming down the pike here where it's like forced conversations. Like, forced. I mean, hi, Married to Medicine. That scene between Dr. Heavenly and her husband where she's like, you know, Daddy, can you make Buddy come back home? I just love him. Oh, please. If that wasn't a forced conversation, I mean, seriously. Like, just be natural about your conversations, for crying out loud. I mean, you don't have to, like, be like, so. I didn't like it. Let's just put it that way. And then we go to Monique Samuels. Now, I love me some Monique. I'm glad to see her back on the screen. And you know, she's so honest. Like she's like, I don't know how the women are gonna take me, and all this stuff. And I really do like her. So she is doing a main event. I love it. Sip and Read. It's promoting her book that was getting ready to come out in a few weeks. I think it was called Love Letters to Myself or something like that. And these are a group of letters that she would write to herself, almost like a journal. And that's how she came up with this book. And so, she had food and cocktails there and stuff, and all the women are there. And, she's reading an excerpt from the book. And Stacey Rush, you know, I- if something like, is there something wrong with this chick's back? Because she is constantly like, she never like moves her head. It's really weird. She's like, there's a lot of self here and a lot of self. Well, yeah, she's reading out of her book. That's what it's about. Letters to myself. Hello. Um, but so she reads out of this book, and then she's got little gift bags for all the women, and she tells them, do not open this yet. So while she's explaining to the ladies that, she's done a lot of self growth, she's not the same person that she was 5 years ago. And they show you 5 years ago, of course, to the scene between her and Candace. And listen, when that happened then, and I'll stick to my opinion still now, 5 years from now, should she have put her hands on Candace? No. But Candace never really took accountability for the fact that, you can only push somebody's buttons just so many times before they snap. And she was really pushing. I'm just saying. But she's changed, and, she wants these women to see her growth. And she goes, but I'm still shady, And so she pulls out this binder and she's like, because I'm a binder bitch. And, Gizelle's expression is like, oh God, what are we in for? But then she makes everybody open their bags, and each lady got a binder and a pen. So she tells all the ladies, I would like you now to write on the first page about how you see yourself. A description, you know. So the ladies are all writing about themselves. Then in the binder are tabs, and on each tab is the rest of the cast names on each tab. So, if I was Ashley, the next tab would be, say, Gizelle, and then so forth, right? So then she says, okay, now I want you to write what you think of each person, under their tab. Now, I think Monique was trying to be a little shady, but I do not think that Monique saw it going this left. But I think what she was trying to show is that, you might see yourself one way, but everybody else sees you a different way. And if that included a little bit of shade, so be it. But like I said, I don't think she was expecting it to go this far left. So, you know, Ashley apparently had wrote about Angel Wonk Wonk. She wrote, what was her exact words? Let me see here because I wrote it down. She wrote catfish, not fully walking in her truth. Yeah, that would be right. And this is going back to how many episodes ago where there were these pictures on her social media, on Angel's social media. And Gizelle was like saying to Angel, girl, like for a minute there, I thought I was being catfished. Like, this does not look like you. Well, it didn't look like her. It didn't. Now, whether or not these photos were, say, pre-pregnancy or, a month ago or 10 years ago, they didn't look like her. I mean, end of discussion. And to get so defensive, like, "Ugh, how dare you say that? Well, hello. I mean, you got to be blind. Seriously, she does not look like that. When you see a picture of her and you see a picture from her social media, it does not look like the same person. It really doesn't. So that's where the catfish is coming from, in case you were under a rock and didn't know about it. And so that's why Ashley wrote catfish. Not fully walking in her truth. Well, hello. Why else do you think she's saying that? I mean, come on. I mean, I'm going to get into this because this is really irritating me. But, she starts explaining about how, like, at the, what was it, the pony party, whatever the heck it was called, how, her husband didn't really want to go and all this stuff. And then so she arrived all flustered. And then Ashley was like basically, you know, questioning her and putting it into the context that she was evicted from her home when really they just got the end of the lease dates mixed up. Baloney. You know when you have to move out. So now, I have a whole theory about this. Are you ready? Hold yourself a second. This is just my opinion. I'm just putting it out there. But now I'm starting to see a little bit more of a picture. So what I think happened is that this chick applied to be a housewife. Now, they do have family that live in Maryland. Angel Wonk Wonk is from Baltimore. And so they do have family there. However, she applied, and guess what? She kind of fidged a little bit in that application and said that they were moving back to the Potomac area, which they're not originally from. And they were moving back to the Potomac area, and they're in the process of looking for a home, and she got cast. So then Angel Wonk Wonk had to go to Big Bobby there and say, yo, Big Bobby, I just got cast on the Real Housewives of Potomac, and so we need to go back to Maryland. And he's like, oh, no. And so she's like, well, we don't have to go permanently, We only have to be there during filming. Well, how long's filming? She's like, probably about 8 weeks, Probably about that. And so he's like, fine. We'll go to a short-term rental for 8 weeks. I'll give you 2 months. And that's it. We're coming back to Colorado. And, in Angel Wonk Wonk's mind, she was probably also thinking, well, while we're back there, we can take a look at some homes. Hi, Zillow, because that's what they said. They didn't have a real estate agent. They were just looking at open houses through Zillow. We'll take a look at a couple homes, since that's what I said we were going to be doing. And I'm sure we'll be done by the end of 2 months. And maybe even in Angel Wonk Wonk's mind, she was probably thinking, if it's an extra week, 2 weeks, then, we can just get an Airbnb or something like that to finish filming and then go back to Colorado. Well, guess what? Guess what? Still filming. More than a week. More than 2 weeks. And Big Bobby was like, nope. We're going back. I told you I would give you 2 months. That's exactly what I gave you. And now our butts are going back to Colorado. And I think that day of the whole pony thing, whatever, they got into a big argument about it. He didn't even want to go to the pony party. And she's like, they're expecting you to go. So he was pissed off about that. So when you heard him turn around and say, we'll get there when we get there, I think that had a lot to do with it. And guess what? Now, none of the women can understand. How could you not know you had to move back to Colorado? Why are you moving back to Colorado? Why don't you just get a short-term rental? Why don't you just get an Airbnb? Right? Because Big Bobby said, nope, I gave you 2 months. That was our agreement. Now we're going back to Colorado where we belong. That's where our home is. That's where our business is. That's where we're going back. And because she's still in contract, to fulfill her contract, now she's had to invite the women to Colorado. Which we will get into. But she had to invite them to Colorado to film. And so I think it's very, big of her to now get all pissed off at Ashley at this event because Ashley said catfish, not, being truthful. Well, you're not being truthful, Angel wonk wonk. And then she almost threatens Ashley, well, if you feel that way about me, why would you want to come to my home? Girl, she's not coming to your home. Almost none of them are. But you haven't told them that yet, huh? Yeah, that's right. You haven't told any of those ladies sitting there that, by the way, I'm not taking you to my home, actually. But I'll get into the rest of that. However, she's like, why would you want to come to my home? And so here's now Monique, first Gizelle actually jumps on the bandwagon and is like, hold up a second. This is my bestie. So if you're disinviting her, then you can disinvite me too. And Angel Wonk Wonk is all feeling herself and is like, that's fine. That's fine. So here's Monique trying to be like, Dr. Monique, as Tia put it, like the peacemaker. And she's like, I don't understand. Like, what's upsetting you so much? And then finally she says to Ashley, can you apologize for using the word eviction? By the way, Ashley never used the word evicted. It was actually, your girl Wendy who used the word evicted. Just saying. So Ashley's like, yes, I can definitely apologize for the word evict being used. And Angel Wonk Wonk is like, I accept your apology. Petty, 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 and oh yeah, petty. But anyway, that's what I think is the original story and why they moved back to Colorado. Well, they didn't even move back. You can take it as like an extended vacation while filming. But that is why they didn't get another short-term rental. They didn't get into an Airbnb. They didn't go to a hotel. I mean, if you were serious about buying a home, which, by the way, you haven't bought one yet, if you were serious about it, you would have stayed to look, right? Not go back to Colorado. It just makes no sense. So that's my opinion. That's what I think happened. So anyway, so that all gets solved. And of course, God love Monique. She's like, and I don't blame her. She was like, I did not see this going this far left. And it went far left. So then Ashley, the pot stirrer that Ashley always is like, Kay, um, in Wendy's binder, I saw she wrote next to your name, fake, FAKE, period. And so, Wendy's like, well, yeah, I put that because, you had beef with me. Well, I love how Kay right away was like, my bags aren't fake. I mean, that takes a whole new meaning if you know what I mean now, right? But uh she's like, if they had a problem, she should have came to me. Well, Dr. Wendy, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of the season, she did come to you. I mean, didn't you have a scene on the park bench, in Baltimore at the harbor, like having a discussion where you were being all passive aggressive with Kay and you were like, if you have a beef, that's on you. I have no problems whatsoever. Like I'm living my best life type deal, right? Mm-hmm. So that didn't turn out very well either. But of course, you gotta love Ashley for trying to stir the pot there, you know? Uh, but the event ends and everybody's happy go lucky. And so now they're getting ready to take this trip to Colorado. And oh boy, do I have a lot to say about this. I want to tell you about this website called MorningSave. I am obsessed with this website. Their motto is big savings, top brands, new daily. Seriously, that's their motto. Big savings, top brands, new daily. That is exactly what it is. I've been a member with them for about 2 years now. I love them. Matter of fact, this is how I do all my Christmas shopping. I'm not kidding. You can get stuff 70% off, 80% off, sometimes 90% off. I'm not joking. From jewelry to luxury handbags to vacuum cleaners. I mean, you name it, this site has it. And we are talking cheap. I'm not joking. And so now I'm going to share it with all of you, my breakers. So make sure that you look down in the description and I have the link of how to get to Morning Save. Make sure you do this. I'm not joking. You will save so much money. It doesn't hurt to look, right? So go to the link, click on it, and I guarantee you when you see this, you're going to be like, Cece, why didn't you tell us sooner? I mean, it is a hidden secret, and now I'm sharing it with all of you, my breakers. Morning Save. Check it out in the link down below. So it is the day of travel, which, by the way, nobody looks very excited. I have to tell you. Like, I don't see anybody going, oh, I can't wait to go to Angel Wonk's house. Instead, it's like they're being led. You know what I mean? But it's the day of travel. And I have to tell you, uh, this does not start off very good, people. Um, they land in Colorado, which I can only assume that they landed in Denver. Okay. And here's Angel Wonk. Even though I have to give it to her, like she really did look cute. She was all dressed in denim with a cowboy hat on, and she was playing the part of, you know, as I think she even said, the Colorado culture. Okay. But this is where it starts getting weird. Right from the get-go. Mm-hmm. So she's in a pickup truck. She starts to explain to the ladies that there's 2 SUVs right here. And she's going to take Kay and Stacy, or no, not Kay. Stacy and Wendy with her in the pickup truck. And the rest of the ladies will have the 2 SUVs. Now, you got to kind of wonder why, right? Okay, I'm going to give you my opinion on this too, which is she didn't want to pay for 3 SUVs. So she's got 2. There's only room for the ladies in the 2 SUVs, so she has to take 2 with her, okay? So she chooses Stacy and Wendy. When they get into the truck, she's like, I really do like you, Wendy. I mean, I know we have things to hash out, but I really do like you. And meanwhile, Wendy's like, yeah, I really like you too. Really, Wendy? I mean, you're the one giving shade in every confessional. You're going to Gizelle and Ashley about this chick. I'm just saying. So I thought I heard somebody. Sorry about that. So anyway, they start now driving and driving and driving. Okay. So apparently, okay, it took about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to the house. Okay. You see this picture of this house way up at the top of this mountain with nothing around. I mean, nothing. Nothing at all. You don't get cell phone service there. There's not a store for miles. I mean, you are not in civilization up here. When they pull up, there's all these guys that get out of trucks. The only thing that I can assume is that one of them is the owner of this house. The other ones are helping with luggage because it's a long way up. And they probably all were like, what? You got the Real Housewives staying at your house? I gotta see this. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Okay? But these housewives have no idea. They are clueless. So they get there, they go up to the home. It doesn't look like some big mansion. It just looks like, a normal size home. And it's got a beautiful view. I'll give you that. And so they're all sitting there, and there's like, a charcuterie sitting there so that they can grab something to snack on, right? And all of a sudden, okay, Angel Wonk Wonk is like, so this is my manager. She's in charge of tours. She's going to go over a few things with you. And then I'm going to leave you alone because I know you've had a long morning. And everyone's like, where are you going? She's like, oh, I'm going back to my house. They're like, this isn't your house? No, this isn't my house. Well, how far away is your house? About an hour. Well, in reality, it was an hour and a half away. True. An hour and a half from the house that she rented for them. Because, her home is sacred and peaceful and doesn't have a lot of room for all the ladies. Okay? Now she's giving out room assignments. Now, she gives Stacy a good room. She gives Wendy an excellent room. But she gives Gizelle and Ashley like a 1-bedroom with 2 twin beds in it. Like, no joke. Okay? And Gizelle right away is like, I'm not going in that room. Well, I don't blame her. I mean, hello. Why would I want to be there? Right? The deal is this. Okay? So this is what I'm actually thinking. I'm thinking, okay, remember where we left off. So she still has to fulfill her contract. Now she's had to invite all the ladies to Colorado to film because she has a contract to fulfill, right? Okay. Now, where her home is in between Denver and Colorado Springs. Okay. The closest town, which isn't like a small town by any means, I want to say, forget what it's called, but anyway, it's like 20 minutes away. That's it, like 20 minutes. And Denver is only 30 minutes one way, and Colorado Springs is only 30 minutes the other way. Angel Wonk Wonk have these chicks up at the top of a mountain. No cell phone service. Nothing but the wilderness. I'm not kidding. Not a store in sight. Not civilization in sight. So this is what I'm thinking is that Big Bobby didn't want to put all that money out. He was like, I'm not paying for all these ladies to have a free vacay on my dime, you know? And an Airbnb, a VRBO, or even a hotel room would be more money where she lives than an hour and a half away where there's no civilization. You're at the top of a mountain. Okay. So I'm thinking 3,000 for the week or maybe 1,500 for the week. Yep. And guess what she went on with Big Bobby? 1,500 for the week. I'm telling you. I mean, this is my opinion. I know it's my opinion, but she went for the cheaper house, in the middle of nowhere because everything around her house is more expensive. And Big Bobby said, not happening. I warned you, girl. When I said 2 months, I was giving you 2 months. That was it. We're going back to Colorado. This is where our business is. This is where our house is. And now you got to fulfill contract. So why should I have to pay? I'm not paying for these ladies. So the compromise was, what if I can get it, let's say, under 1,500 for the week? Well, if you can do that, sure, I'll do it. And now the women are staying in the middle of Egypt somewhere because there is nothing around where they don't even have cell phone service. No cell phone service. I mean, right then and there, I'd be out. I'm serious. I would be like, you are not sticking me into the middle of no man's land with no cell phone service. There's not another human in sight besides the people I'm staying with. There's not a store. What if there's an emergency? No. And you know what? I don't like the fact that I think I'm staying in your home and now you have me staying at the top of a mountain 2 hours away from your house. No, I'm telling you, my butt would be back in the SUV and heading back to the airport and saying see ya because I don't play that game. I don't like not knowing where I'm staying, what the plans are. Angel Wonk Wonk totally did smoke and mirrors on these women. And that's not joke. I mean, even at Monique Samuel's event, when she's going after Ashley and she's like, well, if you feel that way, why would you even want to come to my home? Girl, she's not coming to your home. You're making everybody think they're coming to your home, but she's not coming to your home. You're sticking her in a mountain 2 hours away from your house. Mm-hmm. That would not be me whatsoever. And that's basically where it ends, almost like a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? So, what did you guys think? I mean, I really want to know. If you thought you were going to a friend's house. Okay. They said, please come visit me. And you say, okay. And I fly to you just flew to the state that your friend lives in. And they pick you up from the airport. You've never been there before. You drive to a home. You're going to assume that's their home. And then when they turn around and go, okay, well, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. And you're like, where are you going? And your friend turns around and goes, oh, I don't live here. You know, my home is sacred. So I got this home for you to enjoy yourself. Meanwhile, it's in the middle of nowhere. No. Mm-mm. My butt would be, I'm telling you, back in that SUV, heading straight back to the airport. No two ways about it. I don't play that nonsense because in my mind, I would be thinking, what's the rest of the trip going to be like? I mean, am I going to be stuck in the top of this mountain? Like, am I going to starve? How am I going to get food? How am I going to get drink? How am I going to get in touch with anybody? What if there's an emergency? We have no cell phone service. Like all that stuff would be going in my mind because it was not planned. That's not what I thought it was going to be like. You know what I mean? So Angel Wonk Wonk that we've waited for a heartbeat for this entire season is now doing a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors and switch and bait or bait and switch or whatever it's called, where now she's not telling the truth. She doesn't even know her butt from a hole in the ground at this point, and she is now booked a house in the middle of nowhere for no good reason except for what I told you. Just my opinion. But I think Big Bobby, he's got the purse strings there, and he's the one making the rules. And I think that's why she's just so nasty right now and so frustrated is because everything's out of her control. She thought she would get away with it, and she's not getting away with it. And so every corner she goes, there's like a wall, and it's the Big Bobby wall. I'm just saying. But that's just my opinion. So what do you think? Would you stay? Would you stay in the middle of nowhere? Or would you be out of there? Especially after, I mean, technically you haven't been lied to, I guess. I mean, technically. But what would you do? Would you stay? I mean, my mouth would be running. I'm telling you right now, my mouth would be running. What about yours? And I want to hear about your New Year, by the way. Tell me what you did. I love to hear about New Year's. So I want to hear everything from you, breakers. Everything. Oh, and by the way, you know how I have to have these little chats. So let's have a quick little chat, shall we? You might know this already. I don't know. This isn't something brand new. But the Osefos, I believe it was on December 19th, had a court hearing. The prosecution wanted their financials they wanted to be able to get into their financials, basically. And guess what? The court said, yep, you certainly can, because this is the prosecution's way of proving why they did what they did, allegedly, because they were in debt, allegedly. It is crazy to me that, and I'm bringing it up again because I actually never reminded myself that this is all going on, like seriously. But let me bring it up here so that I can remind you of what's going on here. But let's see. So I'm trying to find out. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can't find it now, but I think it's 16 or 17 counts. 6 or 7, I believe, are felony charges. So yeah, that's probably why the judge said, yeah, you're allowed to look in their financials. And I'm not going to put a quote on it, even though I can get it for you. But let's just say they had a crap load of credit cards that were opened in different businesses and alias names. Um, so that's a problem too. Now, what I can tell you is when I looked this up, in Maryland for fraud cases like this, it takes anywhere from usually an average of 12 to 24 months for their trial to be set, unless they wind up like pleading out or something. You know what I mean? So the real question is now going to come down to, uh, is she going to be filming next season? Is Bravo going to allow her to film next season? Um, I'm thinking as long as they include that, uh, sorry about that. As long as they include um not smoke and mirrors like, Angel Wonk Wonk, but of what's actually going on in real time while they're filming with the court case. Yeah, Bravo might let them film. I mean, that's ratings, you know. That'll probably be the last time they film because if they, God forbid, are convicted, they wouldn't be around for the next season. But they let Jen Shaw do it. They let Teresa Giudice do it. I mean, crap. I mean, they even held the show for Teresa Giudice to come back, to film. Um, so I believe that they might allow her to come back and film. Um, and listen, they're going to need every penny they can get. I mean, they've put their house up for sale. Hasn't been sold yet. It's been a couple months. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even try to do a price reduction, even though I don't even know if they can. I mean, they just did a whole renovation in this house. Remember the episode before this one? I mean, Dr. Wendy's mama there, the one that, was cursing at her. Yes, she's the same mama that Dr. Wendy and her husband give an allowance to. I guess she doesn't have her allowance anymore. Um, and I have to tell you, I know I say this every time I'm recapping, but you really do. I don't try to, but it just, I guess, human nature just kicks in. But like you're watching Real Housewives of Potomac with like a side eye, like, hmm, and every time Dr. Wendy says something or has something on or is giving shade to somebody, you're like, really, girl? Is that the story you're going to stay with? Because, hello. So I think the reunion should be quite interesting, even though I don't think we're going to get any farther than what you did at BravoCon, which was a script. We're going to let the courts, we're going to let it play out in the courts, and we thank you for your love and support. I mean, she said word for word every time she was on the stage. And I foresee that happening at the reunion. And of course, she can't talk about the case, but, she could say something like, oops. I mean, something, right? Something, anything. You know what I mean. Um, and also, I wanted to tell you this too. This just happened in the last week or two, but I'm going back to Angel Wonk Wonk. Angel Wonk Wonk made this sort of public statement saying that, they have so much money. The wealthiest on Real Housewives of Potomac. Making it sound as though, yes, we are more than capable of buying a home in the Potomac area while keeping our home in the Colorado area. And, we're buying Santa Claus too while we're at it. I mean, that's how she made it sound. And the truth is, yes, she is one of the wealthier ones on Potomac. However, for a two-person income, I mean, wealthy, yes. Extremely wealthy. Mm, able to keep two homes going. Not sure about that either. So, I just wanted to put that out there. Because what I could find out was that her and Bobby, I think their combined net worth was approximately $5 million, which is the same as I think it was the Grand Dame, not far from a couple of them actually. And so I'm thinking that if Angel Wonk Wonk had to have a net worth by herself, it may not be that high. Just saying. However, what I do know is that for somebody who supposedly has a business booking events in Colorado, I would definitely think twice about booking with them. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to travel. I would definitely question it because if you think that that is like, oh, it's perfectly fine, I'm going to tell you one thing, but really I'm going to put you up somewhere else. Yeah. Angel Wonk Wonk. I mean, I didn't think you had a heartbeat, but now I just think you're an idiot, really. But let me know what you guys think. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's start the conversation with the comments down below because here we break the dish.